Here's Andrew in Giffnock. He reckons he knows the differences between all the IRAs. Let's hear them. Andrew, go ahead.
Sorry, George. I was actually going to start off with a question for yourself. What do you take the difference between the three groups to be?
The real IRA, the actual IRA, as opposed to these tiny splinter groups, with the political allies, Sinn Féin, have decided that the armed struggle against British rule had gone as far as it could go, and a political process should be launched, and unity should be sought across the divide in Northern Ireland, and I support that.
Right. And I think that the fact that needs to be taken on is that these groups are responsible in the last 6 days for more deaths than have taken place in Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's important that people understand that these groups are all, from the Good Friday Agreement, would you not say, all intrinsically linked.
I'm not sure what point you're trying to make, Andrew. Be more clear.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that from the Good Friday Agreement, when the IRA, as they were, had the people released from jail who had blood on their hands by fact that they were guilty of heinous crimes, have now reformed and become splinter groups under the auspices of the IRA.
Well, that can't be true, can it? Because Billy Hutchinson, who probably knows more about the issues than you do from your fastness of Giffnock near Glasgow, he says there's he says there was scores of these people. Well, there were thousands, many thousands of people in the Irish Republican Army, and now we're down to scores of people. So that's progress, isn't it?
To a degree, but progress isn't having 3 people shot. One of which was obviously a serving Catholic policeman.
Mm-hmm.
So they're defeating the ends of what they're trying to purport to do.
Well, as I think Suzanne Breen made clear, actually religion is completely irrelevant to this. This is a struggle, historically, over hundreds of years, for Irish independence from Britain. And the Irish independence movement, the Republican movement, was founded by Irish Protestants, or perhaps you didn't know that.
No, I'm fully aware, George, because I've read on the subject, and I've had friends who've had personal horrendous experiences while serving in Northern Ireland. And the fact that these men have committed these crimes, these murderous activities, is a step back in time, and it's only going to get worse.
Well, why is it only going to get worse? The Martin McGuinness, who you would argue had blood on his hands, stood on the steps of Stormont with Peter Robinson of Ian Paisley's DUP, and both of them denounced this and united shoulder to shoulder.
And has McGuinness not denounced previous?
Well, never mind that about previous heinous crimes. Never mind going back into history. I'm talking about this eruption of violence is opposed by the Republican movement and loyalists of all kinds, from Peter Robinson of the DUP to Billy Hutchison of the PUP. Yeah. Why are you looking for a problem where one might be minimised?
Because I call 3 dead bodies a huge problem.
Well, it is a huge problem if it leads to another 3 and another 3 and another 3, that's true.
But 2 led to 1 in the space of 48 hours.
Well, that's right. So what's your proscription, Andrew? What should we do?
Truthfully, I think the troops need to be back in Northern Ireland, and the problem needs to be sorted out. Because at the moment, it's a group, but this will only grow.
So you basically want the war to resume, yeah? I
wouldn't call it a war.
Well, I mean...
As you spoke to the man earlier when he said that the war is over, and he said it's not a war.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say it was not a war, Andrew. He said the war was not over.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you want the war to continue. You want the soldiers to go back to the north of Ireland. That's all very convenient from Giffnock, isn't it?
Well, as I said, I have probably more experience than you have, George, with all due respect to you.
Well, are you one of these armchair loyalists, Andrew? Is that where you're coming from?
I'm not an armchair loyalist at all. But I know people that have suffered.
Well, so does
friends lost.
Well, so does Billy Hutchinson. And he probably knows them better than you.
I disagree, but we're not going to go into that, George. But
no, I know, because you don't want to be unmasked for who you are and what you are.
And what am I?
Well, you tell me.
I am a member of I am a resident of Britain.
You were about
Northern
to say
Ireland is part of Britain.
you were about to tell us you were a member there, Andrew. What
A
were you-
member of the Queen's country, but that's not the
You're a
correct
member
word,
of the
and as you
Queen's
say-
country. I think we'll just leave that one hanging in the air. Andrew in Giffnock, near Glasgow, is a member of the Queen's country. Here's Patrick in Langside in Glasgow. Go ahead, Patrick.
How you doing, George? Thanks for having me on.
I'm fine, thanks.
Just to make a point about the killings there at the weekend with you, just to first off, just to state, I don't support the groups that carried out the killings. I don't think that armed struggle is the way to go to advance republicanism at this time. But obviously, as a Republican, I share their political aspirations. But I just like to make the point, I don't think that, as you call them, murders. I just don't agree with that term. I see them as political killings. I don't see them as murder. I think the people who carried them out did them to disrupt the normalisation process in the north of Ireland. They did them to highlight the fact that Ireland is still unfree. Britain still occupies part of Ireland, although the last chap you had on, I'm sure, won't see it that way. But I just don't see them as murder. I don't see them as if someone going out randomly killing someone. There's a point behind them. I think there's a political point behind them, and the people just won't see it.
It's not murder just because there was a point behind it.
I think they were not complying force, George. It's much the same way as the people there.
Well, the
who are
police
attacking
service
US
of
forces.
the police service of Northern Ireland is not an occupying force. That's an Irish police force,
No.
and moreover, one which the Irish Republican movement has withdrawn their objection to and encouraged the community to join. And the policeman who was buried today, and you might show a bit of humility in the face of his grieving wife and children and family, was himself a Roman Catholic. Does that not matter?
Now, his religion means nothing to me, George. At the end of the day, he's a citizen of Britain, of a British police force in Ireland. I see him 100% as a legitimate target. I don't have any affinity with him because he's a Catholic. I'm not sectarian. I don't care if he's Catholic or Protestant. He's a member of a British police force in Ireland.
Well, no, he's a member of the Northern Ireland Police Service, which Sinn Féin supports.
Yeah, they're also. I don't see them as a Republican movement anyway to begin with, but that's a different matter.
So are you one of these armchair revolutionaries, Patrick, from Langside? Are you the mirror image of the guy we just had on from Giffnock?
You can call me what you want, George. I was on your show giving an opinion.
You can sit in Langside and wish for the blood to flow, just like the fellow in Giffnock did. But in fact, the nationalist community for which you claim to have an affinity has already made a decision on this matter. And their decision is to back Sinn Féin and the Republican movement in a peace process. And if democracy means anything to you, then you'll heed that majority view of the Republican movement. Oh dear, you people make my blood boil, sitting there in their comfortable armchairs, wishing for the resumption of war in Northern Ireland. 08717 22 33 44.